What is going on, maniacs? Welcome to the Manga Madhouse channel where we talk everything manga. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail title of this video, in today's video, we're going to quickly talk about I think I have my love for Chainsaw Man back. The last chapter, 170, and in this past chapter, 171, has reinvigorated. To me, this has been, and I could be, you can trash me in the comments all you want. I will completely accept it. Everybody's taste is different, but to me, it's only 2 chapters, and I even believe chapter 169, those were maybe even 168. So I don't know, but this has been the best run of chapters that I've experienced since I've been reading week to week or bi-weekly or whenever the chapters come out. Ever since I've been caught up, this has been the best run. It's been a while, and it felt like, maybe this is just it. At first, I was thinking it was bad. I'm still new to this, still, learning, how you read different series in terms of, what it's like reading when you have all the physical versions, or what it's like reading when you only have some of the physical, and trying to just understand that those scenarios kind of teeter your expectations or your perception of a certain story, because it's not something you can binge. It's very similar with a TV show. Sometimes some TV shows are better when you binge them, or compared to watching week to week, or sometimes they are better week to week because they constantly build the anticipation and you feel those moments. Sometimes they're just not good. And I was scared because it felt as though Chainsaw Man was falling in that not good category. I still love part 1 more than part 2, but it just felt that it just wasn't clicking with me. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. There was other stuff that definitely would be, lower on the totem pole. But there's also stuff that was definitely higher on the totem pole. And after I finished reading, I think it's up to volume 11 is when I was physically caught up with Chainsaw Man. When I was caught up with it, it was high on my list. It was like number 2 or number 3 as far as the best manga I've read. And granted, I still haven't read much, but it was easily one of the best manga I ever read. And now it's slowly falling down just because of the week to week. But these last few chapters have just reinstated just how I felt about this manga. We're now getting more of Denji, and just how, what it's like being Chainsaw Man. We were getting that at first, and that's why I like the part 1 so much, but we were kind of steering away from it at parts in part 2. But now we're getting more of that. We're getting him trying to just find out his worth, trying to find out his value, the other things that are going on around him. Specifically, I'm looking at chapter 171 where, and these are spoilers, but if you haven't read the last 5 chapters, but you're looking and Nayuta's head comes across on the conveyor belt thing for the sushi place. That was insane. And for that anticipation of reading chapter 170 and waiting for 171, you're like, what the heck is going to happen next? But seeing Denji's face and seeing how he reacted is definitely how you expected him to react. That's kind of what they wanted to get out of him. And it still feels like, even though Denji may have physically been had the advantage because he popped the guy's head off, he still technically didn't. That's what they wanted him to do. That's what they expected, because they don't think anything more of Denji. They don't think he's unpredictable. They don't think he's some complex fellow. They know what he was going to do, and they were ready for it. And that's where you see the Special Team 5, where they're like, oh, okay, you take him out, I'm going to provide y'all. I think they wanted booze and something else, which is very, very similar. And I could be reaching here, but it's very, very similar to how they treated Denji. Like, we will give you everything you want if you just do this. So it's crazy that now it's becoming full circle. And those new characters, all those new characters that they show, they are also being used. And you don't even know their backstory, but just based on what we've seen so far throughout the entire story of Chainsaw Man, they are being used the same way Denji was being used. The whole time where Denji thought, this is the life. This is amazing. He was being used. He didn't realize it. He wasn't really in control of his whole life, his entire life, but it didn't matter to him because what he wanted was so small, was so minuscule that nothing else he really even cared about. So it's just cool to see how this all has come full circle. I'm really, really excited to see what happens next. It seems like the action's picking up. It seems like the dialogue is just being a little more meaningful. I just felt as though before there were so many chapters that would go by and you're like, I get it, but it didn't really move me. I've been moved these last few chapters, and just everything from, like I said, seeing Nayuta's head come across, Denji turning into Chainsaw Man, which is kind of what they wanted, but also the conversation of trying to get Denji to be able to remove all the other devils. Once again, saying that they're trying to use him, but hey, we're going to give you what you want, but we need to use you. That's just always what Denji is having to face. And considering things, it looks like things are about to pop off, I'm just super excited. I think Fujimoto, these last few chapters have really, really stepped it up. Let me know what your thoughts on Chainsaw Man. Like I said, I could be the odd one out. Maybe you could talk me into it and say, look, if you go back and read, this is what this all meant. Now go back and read it. I'll be more than happy to do so because maybe it'll change my perspective. I'm all for reading things a couple of times because sometimes that's what it takes. Like sometimes you listen to a song 3 times, you're like, oh, it sucked, and then that 4th time, you're like, this is the best song I ever heard. I'm all for it. I'm not one person. I'm not a person that's going to read it 1 time and maybe even read it 2 times and say, well, I know for a fact. No, things change, especially once you get context of what's upcoming. It just makes things make a lot more sense, and maybe that's why maybe reading week to week is not for me. However, I'm not having that issue with other manga series I'm reading, so maybe it's just something I'm missing. But please let me know what your thoughts are on Chainsaw Man. Please let me know where you think this is going to be headed, and thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.